You're listening to Dave Bedford on the Liverpool Podcast. When you think of the Beatles and spirituality, it is George Harrison's name that springs to mind. George's father Harold was a lapsed Anglican and his mother Louise a Catholic, another mixed marriage. They had the same sentiments as the McCartneys and christened George Catholic at Our Lady of Good Help in Wavertree. George was enrolled in Dovedale School, the same school that John Lennon attended, though John was 2 years ahead of George, so they didn't know each other. George's religious rebellion started from the moment he walked through the front door at Dovedale, because his parents decided from day one that he be excluded from the daily religious assembly. He would have been very conspicuous, as it was very rare in the 1940s for parents to do this. This exclusion continued at the Liverpool Institute, where again he was excluded voluntarily from the daily religious assembly every morning. George became well known in the 1960s for his embracing of the Indian influence in his life, following his time with the Beatles in the ashram with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Probably more than the others, George immersed himself fully into this new spiritual life, rejecting organised religion. Under the expert tutelage of Ravi Shankar, he learned the Sitar, an instrument that started to appear in Beatles songs like Norwegian Wood and Within You, Without You. This interest in the way of the East was actually sparked many years before, when the Beatles started spending a great deal of time playing at the Casbah Coffee Club in West Derby. George, like the others, was captivated by Pete Best's mother Mona. The daughter of a British officer, she had grown up in India and so would regale stories of her time out there and the religious influences she discovered. The boys would hang on to her every word, and so, when they later started to take an interest in the Eastern religions, they had already been told a great deal about it already. When with the Beatles, George would present Mona with necklaces and bracelets from India as a thank you for her influence. George's lifestyle and interest continued after the Beatles, none more so than in his solo hit song, My Sweet Lord, which, if you listen carefully to the end of the song, he names several gurus. It was mainly with the Hare Krishna movement that he was associated, though he never wanted to be tied to any one single religion. His songwriting reflected his opposition to organised religion, especially the Roman Catholic Church, towards whom he directed a lot of criticism, particularly on his final album, Brainwashed. George died from cancer and was not afraid of death. He had peace in his life. He was cremated and, in accordance with his wishes, the ashes were scattered on the river Ganges for his final journey to meet his sweet Lord.